the season ended, I think you've already answered this before, was there any thought about maybe testing NBA draft waters or going elsewhere, or is it always coming back to Arizona for another season?
No, it was for me. It was really all coming back. I did the draft my sophomore year before coming here. Got feedback from that. Obviously, had a good year here. Didn't have any desire to leave. I had plenty of things I wanted to work on, things that I was dedicated to, basically straight away going down to do. So, I went to coach's office and told him straight up, like, this is what I want. I want to come back from the get-go, and he was super supportive of that, and it all worked out great.
Some of that feedback that you received that was helpful throughout that process?
Yeah, they said a bunch of good things, and obviously back then, a couple of years ago, they said, you got to get a little stronger and get bigger. That'll help you in a bunch of ways, and that was one of the reasons why I wanted to come back, because I knew that, and obviously that first year in the Big 12 showed me really how physical it can get. So that's something that we spoke about with Coach and Coach Rounds, and we really dialed into that, and it's worked off great.
What's your thoughts on just, you've had the summer 5 weeks and then a few weeks here, so far the way this team looks, and how does it compare to maybe last year, strengths, weaknesses, et cetera?
Yeah, both teams are great. I mean, it's early, almost too early to say, but I mean, there's great signs, great days of practice, good chemistry, guys, like each other, hang out with each other, there's team bonding going on. There's a lot of good stuff to kind of dissect. Last year's team was great too. I mean, we had great moments, obviously, Sweet 16, all that kind of stuff. So I'm just excited to kind of see how far this team can get.
So clearly, you talked about adding weight, adding muscle, one of those being the priority this offseason. How much weight have you added so far in this offseason?
So far, about 25 pounds. Coach Rounds and I have been super, dialed into that. From the minute we lost to Duke, we lost on I think it was a Thursday night or something like that, and Monday morning I started. We didn't really take any time, because in my situation we don't really have time to play with, so let's just get started. And that was like going back to your first question, why I wanted to come back so fast, was because I was ready to kind of get into that new mindset, that new ability, and it's been great.
Well, it's following up. Sorry, Troy. Was there a moment, or like watching films, where you look back and said, "Damn, I could have got through that screen," or whatever, or was it more just a cumulative thing where you're like, I need to get stronger?
I think there's always moments you look back and you say, I could have done this, could have done that, but you don't think about it until after the fact. Like, I'm not looking back in the moment saying, "Oh, why am I so this," or "Why am I so that," and then now I might say that. It's just, I knew, with the maturity that I had to get bigger, and I knew there was aspects of the game that I could get better at, and I felt I could get better at, and I knew it was attainable. I didn't think it was something that was impossible to think or impossible to say. So I basically just said it out loud, and then I put it to the coaches, and they said yes, and we just did it, and everything worked out great.
So what is that, just for clarification, that exact number that you're at right now?
210, anywhere close to 210.
Being a veteran player, how are you planning on helping the younger players who just came onto the team by being a leader and helping them, like, by being a mentor?
Yeah, just kind of using my experience in my college career to try and implement ways that maybe I can get through to them because I've experienced it, and really just give any advice I can. I mean, also I got to be able to take advice. They can give me a lot of great tips. So I think it's a mutual respect that both of us can help each other, because we're all here to make one goal happen, and that's a national title. So I think if there's a moment that I can help someone, I try and help them, and if I do something and they think they can help me, they help me. And I think that's the best kind of relationship you can have on a team, not just one person saying everything to one person.
What are you most excited for this season?
I'm excited to play basketball again, honestly. I mean, I feel like I've been off for so long, and getting back in front of the McHale and in front of all those people, and we've got a bunch of big games coming up, and excited to get a road win. I mean, there's so many things they're excited for. I mean, get out there and just win games. It's the best feeling in the world.
When you talk about like being a leader, you've got a guy like Braden you're probably playing against and with a lot, very highly rated, kind of like Carter was maybe a year ago. Does that compare at all to the way those guys are, the way you deal with them and kind of help bringing them along, or how is that going?
Yeah, I mean, they're great. They're all great kids. I mean, Carter, Braden, Koa, Dwayne, they're all great kids. I mean, super coachable. They're happy to be here every day. They work hard every day. There's no bias that they're better or they're not based on rankings. There's none of that. I think that's what makes them such great kids. It's easy to come in with a big head, and none of them do that. So I think that's been the best thing, where we're playing on the same team in practice, or we're on different teams, or whatever the case is. We're each pushing each other to get better, because when the game time comes, we're all on the same team, and I want to make sure he's at his best, and he's going to make sure I'm at my best, and that's the only way we're going to win.
Has there been anything that surprised you about this freshman class, maybe that they've done so far that stood out to you?
Yeah, I mean, they're adapting quickly, they're learning quickly, which is great signs. I mean, it just shows their willing of character and how much they're willing to, be taught. I mean, some people, like I said, can come in thinking they kind of know it all and, hey, I might be here for a year and that's it, and they don't really have a full buy-in, and I don't think that's the case here. I think everyone truly is bought in, and I think the goal of a national title really is like a thing that everyone is aspiring for. I don't think if there's any preconceived kind of, hey, I want to do my own thing or anything like that. I think that's the best thing we got going.
Would you get the sense, though, like you said, it is early, obviously you don't know, but like in some form, that you're going to need a lot from some of these freshmen to go where you want to go this year, with just the amount of freshmen you have on this team?
Yeah, it's going to take everyone. I mean, you saw last year, we saw last year. I mean, the Big 12 is no joke. It's every night. It's a big game and it's a big opponent. And no team has one player or two players. It's 4, 5, 6 players. It goes into the bench. Everyone has to really be locked in. I mean, you can't have, whether you think you're going to play or not going to play or you are, everyone has to understand what the goal is, and everyone has to be bought into that. And that's where you have winning moments. When everyone's bought in and everyone provides, that's when you have your best wins. So I think everyone's got to be kind of on that mindset.
Is the beard here to stay this season?
I don't know, maybe. It's kind of just day by day.
You've been growing it all summer, or how did this come about?
No, I had it for the summer, then I got rid of it, and then I brought it back. It's only been probably about 3 or 4 weeks.
Is it anything to do with change in luck or anything like that? Or okay.
No, absolutely zero thought behind it. Just why not try something different for now?
Last season, there were moments where Coach Lloyd would come in here in a press conference and say, we need Anthony to shoot the ball a little bit more when he's open and be a little bit more aggressive, and you kind of did that by the end of the season. You're being more aggressive. How do you keep that mindset that you had at the end of the year and try to extend it out?
Yeah, I think that experience from last year has helped. I mean, obviously you got some guys have left, some guys have graduated, and it kind of opens up doors for me. Big guys like Caleb and Trey and kind of those guys who had a big role, and they've kind of stepped out, and now the doors are kind of open. So using that understanding of last year and kind of what coach wants and how I see myself progressing based on off-season and all that kind of stuff, I think that's a great thing to keep that aggression and keep doing what Tommy says and building me up and all that kind of stuff. So I think just use the end of last year as an example of why not do this every day.
He's good?
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Appreciate it.